these streets.
And I'm just like you.
We getting locked by these caps.
And I'm just like you.
We fulfill the prophecies.
And I'm just like you.
You might be light, I might be dark.
But I'm just like you.
We kill each other over colors.
Damn, I'm just like you.
I'm in these ghettos, in these
And
slums.
I'm just like you.
They call you nigga, call me spick.
And I'm just like you.
You was 1619, I was 1492. We getting shot in these streets.
And I'm just like you.
We getting locked by these
And
caps.
I'm just like you.
Welcome to FCN Quick News of the Day. I'm your host, Officer Judah, and in today's news,
Iran calls U.S. election a spectacle, says it is a clear sign of decline.
says it's a clear sign of U.S. decline. All praises. Scroll down.
Iran responded to the announcement of Joe Biden as the projected U.S. president-elect with ridicule. But reports indicate the Middle East nation ultimately sees President Trump's loss as a positive.
Okay. Scroll down.
Many world leaders congratulated Biden after media outlets projected him to win the 2020 U.S. presidential election. But Iran stood strong in its criticism of a nation with which it has had a tumultuous relationship.
That tumultuous relationship would also have began or even culminated in the killing of one of Iran's top generals earlier this year. Read. Ayatollah Ali Khamenei
of Iran used the moment to issue a statement that made it clear he has no love for America, regardless of the election results.
And this is the Ayatollah, which is the chief religious leader in Iran. This is his tweet about the election.
The situation in the U.S. and what they themselves say about their elections is a spectacle. This is an example of the ugly face of liberal democracy in the U.S., regardless of the outcome. One thing is absolutely clear: the definite political, civil, and moral decline of the U.S. regime.
Interesting. So let's go to the scriptures. So Ayatollah Khamenei says what he's seen in the election is definitely a mark of the political, civil, and moral decline of the U.S. Let's see what the scriptures say about that. Go to Isaiah chapter 46 and verse 9.
Isaiah chapter 46 and verse 9. Remember the former things of old, for I am God, and there is none else. I am God, and there is none like me.
Read.
Declaring the end from the beginning.
So God declares the end from the beginning. The end of the U.S. regime, God has declared from the beginning. Read on.
Declaring the end from the beginning.
Read.
And from ancient times, the things that are not yet done.
Right. So the thing that has not yet been done is the complete and utter destruction of the U.S., but it has been prophesied many a times by many a prophet in the Bible. Give me Jeremiah chapter 51 and verse 12.
Jeremiah chapter 51 and verse 12.
So the Ayatollah mentioned that the sign of the decline of the U.S. regime was the way that the U.S. election was treated as a spectacle. Read.
Jeremiah chapter 51 and verse 12.
Read.
Set up the standard upon the walls of Babylon.
The standard that is being set up is a banner or a flag, just like the flag of doom that was raised over Iran when the U.S. killed General Soleimani earlier this year. This standard that the scriptures speak of, though, is the Bible, is the scriptures. Read on.
Make the watch strong. Set up the watchmen.
The watchmen are the men who go out and teach the Bible, teach God laws to the Israelites, to blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans to repent and keep God's commandments. Read.
Prepare the ambushes, for the Lord have both devised and done that which he spake against the inhabitants of Babylon.
What he's declared from the beginning, he's now saying, go ahead and set it up, set up the ambushes and the pitfalls and the destruction of the U.S. Read.
O thou that dwellest upon many waters.
Thou that dwellest upon many waters would be the U.S. government, which has navies in every sea and every ocean in the world. Read.
Abundant in treasures.
Abundant in treasures, meaning it's the richest country on the planet, able to give billions of dollars in foreign aid to the neighbor nations that they themselves destabilize. Read.
Thine end is come.
God says what?
Thine end is come.
Has declared it from the beginning that your end is come. The sign of your decline is begun. Give me, is that it? Verse 14.
And the measure of thy covetousness. Verse 14. The Lord of hosts have sworn by himself.
God has sworn by himself, by no one greater. Read.
Saying, surely I will fill thee with men as with caterpillars.
He will fill thee with men as with caterpillars, meaning that the destruction of the U.S. would start, that decline would start from within. Okay? That in the ambushes is more.
And they shall lift up a shout against thee.
And they shall lift out the shout of war against you, the United States. Go to 2nd Ezra chapter 15.
2nd Ezra chapter 15
Read.
and verse 20.
Read.
Behold, saith God, I will call together all the kings of the earth to reverence me.
That is that shout, to call together all the nations of the earth to come before God. Read.
Which are from the rising of the sun,
From the east.
from the south, from the east,
Uh-huh.
from Libanus,
And Libanus, which is Lebanon, which would be the Middle East.
to turn themselves one against another.
To turn themselves one against another. To turn themselves one against another. Read.
And repay the things that they have done to them.
Repay the things that have been done to them, them being the Israelites. Because over the course of time, the Israelites have been enslaved or held in captivity by all of the nations of the earth. Read on. Read verse 28. Is that it on verse 20?
Yes, sir.
Verse 28, please.
Verse 28.
Uh-huh.
Behold, an horrible vision, and the appearance thereof from the east.
So again, here's what God has declared from the beginning. A horrible vision. Read.
Where the nations of the dragons of Arabia shall come out with many chariots.
Read.
And the multitude of them shall be carried as the wind upon earth.
Right. So this is what we read earlier about the declaration that God would have about what would happen to this place called America. And also what we read in Jeremiah, in which the standard would be brought out about what will also happen as the destruction takes place. Read.
That all they which hear them may fear and tremble. Also, the Carmanians.
The Carmanians is the ancient name for the Iranians. Read.
Raging in wrath.
Raging in wrath.
Shall
Read.
go forth as the wild boars of the wood.
They shall go forth as wild beasts of the wood. Read.
And with great power shall they come and join battle with them.
And join battle with the Arabians. Read.
And shall waste a portion of the land of the Assyrians.
Read. Is that it?
And
That
verse
for
31. And then shall the dragons have the upper hand.
The dragon shall have the upper hand. Read.
Remembering their nature.
Remembering their nature. What is their nature? Can we go to Genesis 16 verse?
The book of Genesis, chapter 16 and verse 12. And he will be a wild man. His hand will be against every man, and every man's hand against him.
Right. So this is speaking about Ishmael, Ishmael being the father of the Arabians. So the Arabians and the Carmanians, the dragons of Arabia, and the Carmanians, the Arabians, and the Iranians will conspire together. Go back to 2nd Ezra chapter 15.
2nd Ezra chapter 15 and verse 31. And then shall the dragons have the upper hand, remembering their nature. And if they shall turn themselves, conspiring together in great power to persecute them.
Right, to persecute these nations, or this nation called the U.S. Let's go to Joel chapter 3 and verse 1.
Joel chapter 3 and verse 1.
So we're reading about the gathering of the nations together for World War III. And we also read about how the Arabians and the Iranians would conspire together as well. Come on.
Joel chapter 3 and verse 1. For behold, in those days and in that time, when I shall bring again the captivity of Judah and Jerusalem, I will also gather all nations and will bring them down into the valley of Jehoshaphat.
For World War III, read.
And will plead with them there for my people.
And will plead with them there for God's people, the Israelites, the blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. So all this talk about the decline of the U.S. and also you reading in the scriptures about World War III coming to pass is all for the benefit and the salvation of Israel. Is that it?
And I will plead with them there for my people and for my heritage, Israel, whom they have scattered among the nations.
Scattered through the four corners of the earth, read.
And parted my land.
And parted God's land, the land of Israel and the Americas given to the northern kingdom of Israel, the Native Americans. Come on. Isaiah chapter 47 and verse 1.
Isaiah chapter 47 and verse 1. Come down and sit in the dust, O virgin daughter of Babylon.
Virgin daughter of Babylon is the United States of America. Read.
Sit on the ground. There was no throne, O daughter of the Chaldeans.
So literally what we're reading is the prophecy of the decline of the political, civil, and morality of the United States. Read.
For thou shalt no more be called tender and delicate. Take the millstones and grind meal. Uncover thy locks. Make bare the leg. Uncover the thigh. Pass over the rivers. Thy nakedness shall be uncovered. Yea, thy shame shall be seen. I will take vengeance, and I will not meet thee as a man.
So God says he will send his son Christ to not meet America as a man, but to also uncover all of the shame of the United States, in which was also mentioned by Ayatollah Khomeini about how the U.S. and its civil and morality would be beginning to decline and also evidently be destroyed. Let's go to Jeremiah chapter 49 and verse 7.
Jeremiah chapter 49 and verse 7. Concerning Edom, thus saith the Lord of hosts.
God says concerning Edom, the so-called white man, read.
Is wisdom no more into man? Is counsel perished?
Jump down to verse 12. I just wanted that part about Edom. Concerning Edom, this is what we're going to be reading right now. Come on.
Verse 12. For thus saith the Lord, behold, they whose judgment was not to drink of the cup have assuredly drunken, and art thou he that shall altogether go unpunished.
Right. Will you go unpunished for the sins against God's people, the Israelites? Read.
Thou shalt not go unpunished, but thou shalt surely drink of it.
Read verse 16.
Verse 16. Thy terribleness have deceived thee in the pride of thine heart. O that dwellest in the clefts of the rock, that holdest the height of the hill, that though thou shouldest make thy nest as high as the eagle.
Right. That is also Edom, the so-called white man, making their nest in the stars, in the highest places, being the top government on the planet. Read on.
I will bring thee down from thence.
God says your decline will come from him. He will bring you down from your high place of pride. Read.
I will bring thee down from thence, saith the Lord.
Isaiah 35 verse 10.
Isaiah chapter 35 and verse 10. And the ransom of the Lord shall return.
The ransom of the Lord when this place is destroyed will be the Israelites. Read.
And the ransom of the Lord shall return and come to Zion with songs and everlasting joy upon their heads.
Right, because they will be singing and they will be in gladness because of the fact that this place is destroyed and their captivity has come to an ultimate end.
We used to scream black power while heroin was pushed. But at the end of the day, nothing's in vain. IUIC has been given a vision. The tents of Judah has risen. Many has attempted the mission. Minor murmuring, omitting, and missing the mark. Just reading that he had the flame of fire in his eyes gave us the spark. We on Paul's mission. We out on the road, purple and gold. From Mexico, Cuba, Haiti, Ghana, Sierra Leone. 144,000 boots banging, concrete crackling. These are our men repented at heart. The scriptures is proof. IUIC, we deliver the truth.